Now, if you have car trouble while you're out and about today, and not just from floodwater, you probably appreciate a tow to the nearest garage, but maybe not a hefty bill that might follow afterwards.
If you have an accident, then your insurer will normally pay out for cleaning any debris or fuel left behind. But if you just break down, then you could have to fork out hundreds of pounds. Paul Lewis from Radio 4's Money Box programme can explain why. Very good morning, Paul. What's going on?
Hello, Louise. Well, if you're on a main road like the A roads or the motorway network, you'd have noticed these highways agency vehicles patrolling. They're not police vehicles, so they look a bit like them. And what happened to a particular lady I was talking to, Angela, she was driving home on the M69. She had a fuel leak, the fuel pump pipe, I think it became disconnected. So there was a lot of petrol on the road. She pulled over, called 999, and the fire brigade came along, hosed it all down so it was safe. And then just after that, one of these incident support units from the highways agency arrived, spread some absorbent granules, they say, on what was left on the road, and went away. And they say, in fact, they returned to clear it up, but Angela says it all blew away in the wind. And a few weeks later, she got a bill for £326 for clearing up the fuel that her vehicle had left behind, even though it had been hosed down by the fire brigade.
So you'd expect that her insurance company would cover that, no?
Well, you would in a way, but of course insurance covers you for accidents. Now, if this had happened as part of a collision, then yes, her insurer would have paid the bill, and that's why many of us aren't aware of these bills, because they do pay. But insurance doesn't cover you, and certainly Angela's didn't, just when you break down. There was no incident, it just was the car just went wrong, and that's why she got the bill personally. I have to say, after complaining, A+1, the agency that is contracted to do this work for the Highways Agency, cut it to £200, but she's still not pleased and is still trying to argue that she shouldn't pay it at all.
OK, so that's one case. Is this common? Is it happening more often? Well,
I spoke to the AA, and they certainly get complaints, and I know that the Freight Transport Association is very worried, because a lot of these incidents, of course, are caused by lorries or happen to lorries, and they face bills of sometimes thousands of pounds. And what they're concerned about, and what the AA is concerned about, that these contractors, they're not employed by the Highways Agency, they are contractors who bid for the work in particular parts of the country. These contracts, as they come up for renewal in the near future, that the Highways Agency will try and drive down the price they pay them to do this work, and that means they'll have to put up the cost and try and recover the cost more frequently from the motorists that they help, and that's their concern for the future. So maybe not a huge problem now, but in the future it could become a bigger one. And obviously Moneybox would like to hear from people who've had this experience.
Moneybox, Paul, is today?
It's at noon on Radio 4, and people can contact us through the website bbc.co.uk/moneybox, or of course tweet me as usual.
Paul, just before you go, because I know you're brilliant at all of this, we're looking at all this possibility of flooding at the moment as well. What should people be thinking about, you know, personally, insurance, and also if they've got businesses as well?
Well, it's going to hit business in the flooded areas very hard, of course, not just with the water coming through their premises, but also the loss of business. And I think generally this period of very heavy rain is very damaging to the retail industry. We've had the highest rainfall, I think record rainfall, for the last 3 months. So that's going to mean people aren't going out doing recreational shopping. Insurance, of course, is another matter. Do make sure that your home is insured before anything happens, and of course people are finding that if they're in a flood area, premiums are very, very high, and this is something the government's discussing with the industry at the moment, but the outcome of that we're not quite sure of.
OK, Paul, thanks so much. See you soon.
We'll talk about a way of making